before we start, how many of you are one bad month away from living in your car? Watch Marcus's story, then share yours in the comments. Every morning at 6:12 a.m., Marcus wakes up in his car in the back corner of the employee parking lot, then walks 50 feet to clock in. Marcus is 34 years old. He works full-time at a distribution warehouse in the industrial part of town. He's been there for 3 years. He operates a forklift, handles inventory, loads trucks. He makes $17.50 an hour. He pays his phone bill on time. He pays his car insurance. He has a gym membership at Planet Fitness. He shows up every day. He's never late. He doesn't call in sick. To his coworkers, he's just Marcus, the quiet guy, keeps to himself, does his job. Nothing remarkable. They have no idea he's been living in his 2009 Honda Accord for 8 months. It started with one night, then 3, then a week. Then it just became normal. The car is silver, 4 doors. The back seat folds down, but not all the way. The trunk smells like motor oil, and the clothes he keeps back there's a blanket, navy blue, that he drapes over the back windows at night. Another blanket, smaller, that he uses to cover himself. A pillow from Walmart, $6.99. That's gone flat. In the front seat, he keeps a phone charger, a flashlight, a bottle of water, a toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, cologne, mints, wet wipes, and a small trash bag. Everything has a place. If it doesn't, there's no room. The parking lot is massive. 200 spaces, maybe more. Marcus parks in the back corner, near the dumpsters, where the overhead lights are dim and no one parks during the day. That spot is his. He's claimed it without ever saying so. At night, the warehouse is lit up like a stadium, but the back corner stays dark. It's quiet, except for the sound of the highway half a mile away, the hum of trucks, the occasional siren, the wind rattling the chain-link fence. He wakes up 3, sometimes 4 times a night. Every car door closing, every engine starting, every set of footsteps on pavement. His body doesn't rest anymore. It just pauses. He sets 3 alarms, 5:47, 5:52, 5:57. The goal is to be awake and gone before the morning shift supervisors arrive at 6:30. Before anyone sees him sit up in the driver's seat and rub his eyes and stretch his neck and try to shake the stiffness out his shoulders. At 5:47, the first alarm buzzes. He wakes up already tense. He checks the windows. The parking lot is still empty. He exhales. He sits up slowly because his back hurts and his neck is stiff, and the cold makes everything worse. In winter, the car gets so cold that his breath fogs a windshield, and he has to scrape frost off the inside of the glass. In summer, it gets so hot that he sleeps with the windows cracked and wakes up drenched in sweat and covered in mosquito bites. There's no good season for this. He drinks water from a gallon jug. He refills at the gym. He brushes his teeth in the front seat, spitting into an empty bottle. He changes his shirt in the back seat, crouched low so no one driving by can see him. He keeps 3 work shirts in rotation. They're wrinkled, but not too wrinkled. Clean enough. He bought an air freshener that smells like fresh linen. It hangs from the rearview mirror. He keeps mints in his pocket. He sprays cologne on his wrists and his neck. 2 sprays. Not too much. Just enough to smell like someone who didn't sleep in a car. At 6 o'clock, he drives 2 miles to Planet Fitness. $10 a month. The best money he spends. He showers there. Hot water. Soap. Shampoo. He shaves. He brushes his teeth again. He stands under the water longer than he needs to because it's the only time he feels warm. The only time he feels clean. The gym is empty at this hour. Just him and maybe 1 or 2 other people. He doesn't make eye contact. He doesn't talk. He keeps his head down in the locker room because he doesn't want anyone to notice that he's there every single morning at the same time with the same black gym bag and the same look on his face. By 6:40, he's back in the parking lot. He parks in a different spot now, closer to the building. He grabs his lunch from the cooler in the trunk, a sandwich, an apple, a bag of chips, sometimes leftovers from the deli section of the grocery store, marked down because they're about to expire. He bought the cooler at a thrift store for $4. It keeps things cold enough. At 6:55, he walks through the front door. He clocks in. He says good morning to Janet at the front desk. She says good morning back. She asks how he's doing. He says fine, thanks. How about you? She says good, busy weekend. He nods. He smiles. He walks to the warehouse floor. He puts on his safety vest, his gloves, his steel-toed boots. He gets on the forklift. He does his job. At lunch, he sits in the break room with everyone else. He doesn't eat in his car. That's a rule he made for himself. If he eats in his car, people will notice. They'll see him out there alone. They'll wonder. So he sits inside. He makes small talk. He laughs at the jokes. He talks about football, about the weather, about nothing. Someone once asked him where he lives. He said, not far, just a few minutes away. Vague enough. True enough. They didn't ask again. Another time, a coworker named Dave said, man, you're always here early. You must live close. Marcus smiled. Yeah, short commute. Dave laughed. Lucky. I drive 40 minutes each way. Marcus nodded. He didn't say anything else. He took another bite of his sandwich and changed the subject. He's good at this, at being invisible, at blending in, at making people think everything is fine. Because if they knew, they'd look at him differently. They'd pity him, or judge him, or worse, they'd try to help. And he doesn't want help. He wants to keep his job. He wants to keep his dignity. He wants to be seen as a person, not a problem. But here's the thing. The math doesn't work. Marcus makes $17.50 an hour, 40 hours a week. That's $700 a week before taxes. After taxes, it's about $525. That's $2,100 a month. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment in this city is $1,400 a month. Cheaper if you go further out. But then you need a car that runs well enough to make the commute. And his car is hanging on by a thread. The check engine light has been on for 6 months. The brakes squeak. The transmission slips. He can't afford to fix it. So he just drives it carefully and prays it doesn't die. So $1,400 for rent. That leaves $700. Car insurance is $120. Phone bill is $50. Gas is $150. Groceries, if he's careful, $200. That leaves $180 for everything else. Laundry, toiletries, clothes, emergencies, debt. He has $3,000 in credit card debt from 2 years ago when he had to fix his car and couldn't afford it. The minimum payment is $75 a month. That leaves $105 for the entire month, for anything that goes wrong. And things always go wrong. He tried it. For 3 months last year, he had an apartment, a studio, $1,350 a month. It was small. It smelled like mildew. The heater didn't work, but it was his. He had a bed, a shower, a door that locked. But after 2 months, his car broke down. $800 to fix it. He didn't have $800. He put it on his credit card. Then his hours got cut at work. Just for 2 weeks, they said, we're slow. We'll get you back to full-time soon. They did. But by then, he was behind on rent. $1,350 for the first month. $1,350 for the second. He paid half. Then less. Then nothing. The eviction notice came on a Tuesday. He had 30 days. He looked for cheaper places. But every apartment wanted first month, last month, and a deposit. That's $4,000 up front. He didn't have $400, let alone $4,000. He asked friends. One let him crash on a couch for 2 weeks. Then it became awkward. He left before they had to ask him to leave. He looked into shelters. But the nearest one had a wait list, and a curfew, and rules about what you could bring. And he'd have to give up his car, because there's no parking. And without his car, he couldn't get to work. And without work, he had nothing. So he slept in his car, just for a few nights. He told himself, until he figured it out. That was 8 months ago. Here's what no one tells you about living in your car. It's not the sleeping that's hard. It's everything else. It's not having anywhere to go when you're not working. It's driving around aimlessly because you can't just sit in a parking lot all day without looking suspicious. It's the grocery stores, the libraries, the coffee shops where you sit for hours because they're warm and they have bathrooms and no one asks you to leave as long as you buy something. It's the bathrooms. Always thinking about bathrooms, where the closest one is, which ones are clean, which ones are open late, which ones require a key, which ones have security guards who watch you too closely. It's the embarrassment of washing your face in a McDonald's sink at 10 p.m. because you didn't make it to the gym that day. It's the laundry. He does it once a week at a laundromat. $6 to wash, $6 to dry. He sits there for 2 hours while his clothes tumble. He folds them carefully and puts them back in the trash bags he keeps in his trunk. He tries not to think about how he used to complain about doing laundry when he had an apartment. It's the food. He eats a lot of gas station food, a lot of sandwiches, a lot of things that don't need to be refrigerated or heated. He can't cook. He can't store leftovers. He can't meal prep. He buys what he can eat that day and nothing more. Sometimes he splurges on fast food, a burger, fries, something hot. It feels like a luxury. It feels pathetic. It's the cold, the brutal, bone-deep cold in winter, the kind that makes your fingers numb and your teeth chatter and your whole body curl into itself trying to stay warm. He runs the car for heat, but he can't leave it running all night because he'll run out of gas and he can't afford to fill the tank more than once a week. So he runs it for 20 minutes. Then he turns it off. Then he freezes. Then he runs it again. He sleeps in layers. 2 pairs of socks, sweatpants, 2 hoodies, a jacket, the blanket. He still wakes up shivering. It's the heat, the suffocating, oppressive heat in summer. The kind that turns a car into an oven. The kind that makes the seat stick to your skin and the air thick and heavy. He sleeps with the windows cracked. But then the mosquitoes get in, and the noise, and the smell of garbage from the dumpster 15 feet away. He wakes up covered in sweat, his shirt soaked, his mouth dry, his head pounding. It's the fear, the constant low-grade fear, that someone will notice, that someone will report him, that a cop will knock on his window in the middle of the night and tell him he can't park here, that his car will get towed, that someone from work will see him, that he'll lose the one thing holding his life together. It's the exhaustion, the kind that doesn't go away with sleep, the kind that lives in your bones. He's tired all the time, tired when he wakes up, tired at work, tired when he goes to bed. His back hurts, his neck hurts, his shoulders hurt. He gets headaches that last for days. He hasn't seen a doctor in 2 years because the copay is $40 and that's 3 tanks of gas, and he needs the gas more than he needs to know why his head hurts. It's the loneliness, the deep, aching loneliness. He doesn't tell anyone, not his coworkers, not his friends, not his family. His mom is 3 hours away. She's got her own problems. His dad's not in the picture. His brother is in Arizona. They talk maybe twice a year. His family thinks he's doing fine. He posts on social media sometimes. Pictures of sunsets. Pictures of his lunch. Nothing that shows the truth. They see what he wants them to see. A guy with a job. A guy who's making it work. A guy who's fine. But he's not fine. He thinks about quitting sometimes. About walking away. About finding something else. Something better. Something that pays more. But what? He doesn't have a degree. He doesn't have a trade. He's at a high school diploma and 3 years of warehouse experience. Every job he looks at pays the same or less. And if he quits, he loses his income. And if he loses his income, he loses everything. So he stays. He shows up. He does his job. He stays invisible. One day in October, something happened. Marcus was loading a truck. Same as always. Moving boxes, scanning barcodes, checking invoices. It was a Tuesday, mid-afternoon. He was tired. He's always tired. But that day, he was exhausted. His back was killing him. He'd woken up 4 times the night before because of the cold. He hadn't slept more than 3 hours total. He was lifting a box, not even a heavy one, maybe 30 pounds, and something in his back just gave a sharp, searing pain that shot down his leg and made him drop the box and buckle. He caught himself on the edge of the truck. He stood there for a minute, breathing hard, trying not to cry. Dave saw him. "You good?" Marcus nodded. Yeah, I'm good." "You sure? You look like hell." "I'm fine. Just tweaked my back." Dave looked at him for a second. Then he shrugged. "Take it easy, man." Marcus nodded. He finished loading the truck. He didn't say anything to anyone. He didn't file an incident report. He didn't go to the clinic. Because if he did, they'd send him home. And if they sent him home, that's a day without pay. And he can't afford a day without pay. So he worked through it. He popped some ibuprofen. He bought at the dollar store. He stretched. He gritted his teeth. He kept going. That night, he sat in his car and cried. Not because of the pain, but because he realized that this was it. This was his life. And there was no way out. Marcus has been on a waiting list for subsidized housing for 7 months. He's number 247. He checked last week. He was number 251. So he's moving up, slowly. They told him it could take a year. Maybe more. Maybe less. It depends. On what, they didn't say. He just has to wait. He's looking for a second job. Something at night. Stocking shelves. Security. Anything that pays cash. But the problem is, if he works at night, where does he sleep? He can't sleep during the day in the parking lot. People will see him. So he'd have to find somewhere else. Another parking lot. Another corner. Another place to hide. He thought about asking for a raise. He's been at the warehouse for 3 years. He's never been written up. He's never missed a shift. He works hard. He does good work. But he knows what they'll say. We'd love to, Marcus, but it's not in the budget right now. Maybe next year. And next year will turn into the year after that. And nothing will change. He thought about going back to school, learning a trade, becoming an electrician or a plumber or something that pays $30, $40 an hour. But school costs money and time, and he doesn't have either. He barely has enough time to sleep, let alone sit in a classroom. He thought about moving to another city, somewhere cheaper, somewhere with more opportunities. But moving costs money, gas, deposits, time off work. And what if it's the same there? What if he gets there and it's just as hard, and now he's broke and alone in a place where he doesn't know anyone? So he stays, because staying is the only option that doesn't require money he doesn't have. There's a guy at work named Tony. He's older, maybe 50. He's been at the warehouse for 10 years. He's got a limb from an injury he got 5 years ago that never healed right. He talks about retirement sometimes, about how he's got 7 more years until he can collect Social Security. 7 more years of waking up at 5 a.m. and standing on concrete for 8 hours and going home to an apartment he can barely afford. Marcus looks at Tony sometimes and wonders if that's his future. 50 years old, still here, still struggling, still 1 bad month away from losing everything. He doesn't want that to be his future, but he doesn't know how to change it. There are good days, days when the sun is out and he slept okay and nothing hurts too much and work goes by fast. Days when he feels almost normal, almost like a person who has his life together. He listens to music in his car. He watches videos on his phone. He goes to the park and sits on a bench and watches people walk their dogs and kids play on the swings. He pretends, just for an hour, that he's just a guy enjoying his day off. But then the sun sets, and he has to figure out where he's going to park. And the pretending stops. In November, a co-worker named Lisa brought in homemade cookies for everyone. Chocolate chip. She made them for her son's birthday and had extras. She handed them out in the break room, smiling, telling everyone to take 2. Marcus took 2. He said thank you. He ate them slowly, savoring every bite. They were still warm, soft in the middle, the kind of cookies that taste like someone's kitchen, like home. He wanted to cry. He didn't. He just smiled and said they were great and threw away his napkin and went back to work. It's the small things that break you, not the big things. Not the eviction or the cold or the fear. It's the cookies. It's the coworker who mentions going home to take a nap. It's the conversation about weekend plans, about sleeping in, about not setting an alarm. It's the little reminders that everyone else has a place to go. And he doesn't. Marcus doesn't tell people he's homeless. He doesn't think of himself as homeless. Homeless people are on the street. They're holding signs. They're sleeping on sidewalks. They're in shelters. He has a car. He has a job. He's not homeless. He's just between places, temporarily, even though it's been 8 months. He knows that's not true, but it's easier to believe the lie. One night in December, it snowed. Not a lot, just a few inches, enough to cover the parking lot in white. Marcus sat in his car, watching the snow fall, and he thought about how beautiful it was. How quiet, how peaceful. He thought about how, when he was a kid, snow meant staying home from school, meant hot chocolate and cartoons and building snowmen in the yard. Now snow means cold, means slipping on ice, means a car taking longer to warm up, means scraping frost off the windshield with a credit card because he doesn't have an ice scraper. He used to love snow. Now he just wants it to stop. Marcus is still at the warehouse. He still wakes up at 6:12 a.m. He still drives to the gym. He still showers. He still clocks in. He still does his job. He's still looking for a second job. He's still on the waiting list for housing. He's still number 247. Nothing has changed. Nothing is fixed. Tomorrow will require the same effort as today. And the day after that, and the day after that, he doesn't know when it will end. He doesn't know if it will end. He just knows that right now, today, he has a car that runs and a job that pays and a gym membership that lets him shower. And that's enough to get through today. Tomorrow is tomorrow's problem. People pass Marcus every day. In the parking lot, in the hallways, in the break room. They say good morning. They ask how his weekend was. They complain about the weather, about traffic, about being tired. He nods. He agrees. He laughs at their jokes. They see a coworker, a quiet guy, keeps to himself, does his job. They don't see the parking lot at night. They don't see the blankets covering the windows. They don't see him wake up 4 times before dawn, checking to make sure no one's watching. They don't see the way he stretches his back every morning because sleeping in a car for 8 months has left him in constant pain. They don't see the fear in his eyes when someone mentions rent or apartments or home. They see someone who's fine. He sees someone who's barely holding on. And every morning at 6:12, he wakes up and does it again. Because what else is there to do?